All right, we are live on paraglidingtalk.com here in Southern California. You're joined by Trey Sapp.
What's up, guys?
So I want to, we're having a little technical difficulties. I've got a little bit of a delay here. So if you're just logging in and you're checking out the show, glad that you're here. You're at the right place. My name is Robert. I started the YouTube channel a little while back doing some paragliding. And so I'm a P3 here in San Diego. Got a little over 60 hours of airtime, 150 flights or so, and started or created this channel just to basically film what my progress was and see what I could learn from other pilots. And so in my pursuit of learning everything, I thought it would be great if there was a place where we could go each week and hang out on a live stream and ask questions and learn. So here we are. Before we start the show, tonight we have a great show lined up. Alan is a free flight paraglider. He's a pilot that lives not too far from me here in Southern California, flies at one of the best sites in the world. In my opinion, Crestline is where you're going to find him most of the time. And so he is, he's texting me right now, as a matter of fact. He is a instructor as well as a tandem pilot. So he's always flying, and he's always got some great videos that he puts up. Go check out his YouTube channel. That's going to be in the link in the description below. And then also want to just put a plug in right here. I got a good handful of guys that are helping support on Patreon. YouTube doesn't pay me anything. I'm not sure what they're doing with monetization, but I'm too small for that. But to keep the show going and to get some better equipment, I want to get better mics, obviously. Thanks, Nick Hawks from paleotreats.com, who loaned this microphone to the show. And go check out paleotreats.com too if you're interested in the paleo diet and eating good food that tastes good and with none of the drawbacks of all the nastiness. But yeah, so if you guys get a chance, go check out paraglidingtalk.com. Paraglidingtalk.com is where we have all the upcoming shows, and then you can go back and actually watch all the existing shows from the past. And so go check those out. So Trey Sapp, what's up, brother?
Nothing, man. Had another couple good flights this last weekend, and ended up, the whole weekend was going to be a washout, but ended up on Sunday it rained until like 3 p.m. and then I just went out and was able to fly in between clouds. So there was a layer hanging at about 1,000 feet and then another layer at about 6,000 feet, and I just kind of hung out there for about 30-45 minutes or so, and it was just great flying. So
I saw that.
Yeah.
So here, let me send Alan. What's that email again? I didn't write it down. Alan Thoe, sorry about this. Every once in a while we have a technical difficulty or two.
It happens. But I got to tell you, while you're doing that,
yeah, go for it.
The show is so such a good thing that you're doing here, because to be able to bring these guys together and be able to have a conversation like this is, almost like what a fly-in is, right? You go and just you hang out with a lot of different pilots that have a lot of different experiences, and you end up talking about those experiences, and you're taking it a step further by, including paramotorists like myself. I've never done free flight. Can't wait to try it. I come out there and visit with you guys and try it one time, and I'll be hooked, I'm sure. Yeah. So, I think it's that you take it that step further, that, there's a lot of crossover there. So it's just a good thing that you're doing here with the show.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I feel like when I just said, hey, let's do this, it wasn't here already. I thought for sure that there'd be something like this existed, but we're in that technology stage where it's like sky's the limit. There's Alan. All right, brother.
Can you
What's
hear me?
up? Yep, I can. Nice and
Oh,
clear
good.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
What's
So
up, Alan?
I've already introduced
Hey,
you.
what's up?
This is Trey Sapp. Trey is PPG Flyer on YouTube. If you you've probably seen some of his stuff. He's got some really good East Coast paramotoring videos on YouTube. I don't know if it's in the if there's a link in the description, but anyways,
Oh, I saw
you'll be able
his.
to check that
You
out.
had him on like the 6th episode or something.
Yep,
Wasn't he
yeah,
on? Yeah.
that's right. Got it, man.
Yeah.
So
Jeremy just got his parts today.
I know, I heard. He
Yeah.
told me, I'm like, what are you doing? You're not allowed to go and cross over.
Yeah. Here he is.
Is he texting you right now?
No, he called me.
Oh, he's calling you. Nice.
Jeremy.
Alan, what's up, old pal?
You're live, dude.
It was so fucking sick out there today. Oh my god.
Hey, Jeremy.
You realize
Jeremy.
you're on, Jeremy. You're on the show right now.
Jeremy, you're live on YouTube, and this is Robert Michaels.
Right now, you are sexy as all get out.
Jeremy, you're on the show right now. Like literally.
Hold on. Do you have a pinstripe shirt on right now?
Yeah. Oh, Jay.
So funny. So if you go to paraglidingtalk.com,
Hey,
Jeremy,
I can't talk right now, Jay.
Next,
log on.
we're trying to get him on the show next. He's the guy that's on deck. So
Yeah,
Jeremy
right.
is awesome.
Crashing our party.
Oh, that is so funny. So he's flying at Crestline tonight. That's what he was calling.
Oh yeah,
telling you.
so was Steven. Yeah, Steven was doing all sorts of tumbling and everything.
Nowak?
Huh?
Steven Nowak?
Yeah, Steven Nowak.
Gosh, man. I'm so jealous because I haven't been able to fly because I've been sick.
Yeah.
Absolutely horrible.
Dude, it's no fun. Well, it's the wrong time of year, you know.
Yeah.
This is that year. I mean, it's incredible how much we get to fly this time of year.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, right?
Yeah.
Right.
All the East Coast guys are out here, huh?
That's Trey, bro. Trey's
I know.
he wanted to fly, and you got to deal with 30.
So, Trey,
Yeah.
do you know John Gallagher?
No.
No? Oh, he's out here from Massachusetts, so I don't know where you're in.
Pennsylvania, Philly.
Okay. So pretty close. I mean, not relatively. But, yeah. You should come out, man.
I can't even wait, man. I can't even wait. It's going to happen for sure.
Yeah.
So
have you been out here?
Never. No.
Yeah, you got to come, bro. There's some.
I mean, I've been out to California several times for like conferences. I actually stayed right on the bay where like the picture for your YouTube thing is. It has the picture of the bay, the hotels. I was at that conference at that hotel, so I have been out the West Coast. I know how beautiful it is, but I've never flown.
Oh yeah, like Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
The guys a lot of times here will fly this really unique route. You'll have to check that out on Max Para's channel, Chris Dewey's. He's on the show normally. He's a moderator. I'm not sure what he must be working or something. But go check out his videos and look at where he flies. So he'll fly from Little Black and he'll go to Del Mar, fly around the beach, come back with the motor, obviously. But if you don't have the motor, then you can just come with us, and there's all kinds of cool sites to fly at. So having that said, Alan is an instructor. He has his tandem certification, so he's flying other people most of the time, which looks super fun, and I can't wait to get my tandem certification eventually. Let me just start by asking, one, how long have you been in the sport, and how did you get in?
Well, I've been flying since 2011. And I started with, I started with kite boarding. I used to kite board. I lived in the Bay Area, So I was in Santa Cruz in a place called shoot, I don't remember the name now. I keep wanting to say Kirk Creek. I know that's not it. That's Big Sur. But anyways, it's just north of Santa Cruz, and it's a big windsurfing place, and it's usually honking. You know, like so. As a kite surfer, you're always waiting for winds to be really strong, and you go all the way out to the ocean. And if it's not strong enough, you just can't fly. You know, I mean, you can go in the water maybe, but you can't really get yourself up on the board and dragged around. You need like good 14, 15, 16 miles an hour. And a couple of days I was just sitting there light and barely able to even go get my kite up. I had a 12 meter was my biggest one. And I saw these guys I thought were just skydivers floating around. This is a long time ago, by the way. It's like 98 probably or something. But I noticed that after a while that they weren't coming down. Like they just were flying around and just I was just perplexed. I just didn't understand that we had even got to that point yet, you know, that was even possible. I mean, I was a physics major in college, and I just didn't think that was even possible. Like, I just got, and plus, when they did land eventually, they all just packed up and left, and I had a wetsuit. It's like, it's just salty and sandy, and I had to clean my gear, and just like the hassle was just ridiculous. And so I put it in my head to do paragliding, but I didn't have the money. So I just kind of waited and waited. And then I was at Tahoe at Kings Beach, and I saw it, and I just had enough money, just barely enough money to get going. I had a couple grand saved up, and I just called Wally, Merlin Flight School in Northern California, and just made an appointment and started Ed Levin, and just went full addict all the way till now. You know, like,
full addict.
Yeah, like I mean, my wife just keeps thinking I'm gonna move on. You know, it's pretty funny actually. I mean, she doesn't really give me a lot of hard times because we'd have a weird relationship, but they don't fly with me that much. Like I've taken her twice, and my youngest daughter I've taken maybe 4 or 5 times, and my oldest I took twice too. But none of them are really into it. Like my daughter, well, she used to make videos, so she liked it. My younger one, my 11-year-old, but my older one, she told me that she didn't think it was that exciting. So,
wow.
And I was like,
That's
what?
Hilarious.
What are you talking about? We're in the air. We were at Big Sur, you know, 3,000 feet over the ocean. And I'm like, how can you not think this is exciting? And she said, well, the way you talk about it and how often you go, I expected it to just be surreal. And it was just like, it was okay. You know, I was like, oh, so she kind of sunk my ego there a little bit. But
that is so funny.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of the pictures. I went spying on Facebook to try to find pictures to promote the show. And so if you guys go paraglidingtalk.com, you could see some pictures of that. I used to bring up pictures live, and I would drag them over and I would put them on, but I noticed that my computer can't handle it. So until I get a better computer, I better not mess with it too much. It like freaks it out.
Our video got cut off totally.
Well, that was user error. That was me. I hit the wrong. I hit the end button.
Oops.
Yeah. So here we are. We're all talking, and it was getting good and like all meaty. And all of a sudden, I'm like, I'm going to try to show something, and I clicked on stop broadcast. I'm like, did I stop broadcast? Is that my picture? And then I was like, oh gosh, guys, I'm sorry. But it was cool that the Hangout still stayed together. It's just I was gone. But it wasn't live anymore, obviously, so we had to start another one. So now that you've got the instructor, well, let me back up. At what point were you like, I've got to get my tandem certification and I've got to teach this sport? What thought process led you to that? Because I mean, I'm heading that direction.
Well, so I'm a school teacher. I'm still wearing my teaching clothes. So I've been teaching for 17 years, and that part was even right away. I think I was like that annoying guy who just got his rating, who's trying to give advice to the next guy. You know, just can't stop talking about it. So, you know, even I still feel that way when I'm around Max, Marion, and those guys, because they're still so much higher, and like, I mean, I feel like I've been doing it a long time and I got a lot of flights, but compared to those Tory guys, I'm just a new student still. So it's always relative. But I pretty much naturally, I really enjoyed the very beginning, started to teach some friends of mine and my uncle. And just like because I am a teacher, I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage over the normal person in that I think a lot about what they're going to, how they perceive it. And I'm a very firm believer of they do it. No, I show them, but they do everything. I give them instruction and let them fail over and over again in a safe way. But I don't like to set their rig up for them or connect their harness or anything, even reset their pins. I show them and then I pull it again and make them do it right in front of me so that they're doing it, physically doing it. Because my instructor didn't do that all the time, and that hindered I didn't remember it. If you don't do it yourself, you don't remember it. So, and then the tandem was obviously like, as soon as I just kept climbing the ladder. I was just like, dude, I got to be able to take my friends, And so I got my tandem pretty much like, I want to say like 3 years after I started flying, like 2.5 years after I started flying. So, I mean, you can get 250 flights pretty fast in California. And
Right, yeah.
you fly every day, And then I trained at Torrey, and I flew at Torrey as a commercial tandem pilot for a couple of years. So, I mean, I racked them off, like I probably did at least 500 there. And then, so I feel like that was a huge experience, even though it's linear, laminar air, it's very smooth and there's not a lot of danger, but the repetition, the different weights and the different passengers, the ones that sit down and don't listen and stop right at the edge of the cliff or something,
I had, when I was there this last time, I don't know if the last video that I posted, where it was just a sledder, like instant straight to the beach. There was the following day, a guy did that tiptoe right up to the edge, and then he fell off. Now he didn't get like critically injured, but he ended up down there on those cliffs pretty beat up, and it was on the news. And my wife's like, "Hey, did you know somebody crashed at Torrey?" And I'm like, "What? Who's even flying at Torrey? Like, it's a sledder." And it was that student. So if you're watching out there and you're that student, sorry about that. Hope you get better, man.
Yeah.
So, dude, I was doing tandems there a couple summers ago, and a student, the one that broke his back, I don't know if you heard about it. It was maybe before you. I don't know, how long have you been flying?
It'll be a year in March.
Okay, so it was about a year. It was about a year before that, I think, because it was 2 summers ago, and he basically the guy like freaked out and he spun his glider and then he kept his hands down, so he was like basically stalled and his wing was, and then he let him up right as it surged, and then before I don't really know exactly what happened because you don't have a lot of altitude, so you're going to be on the ground pretty fast. But I have this video because I was setting up my tandem flight, so the guy takes this picture of me and my passenger, and we're like centered in the camera, and right in the background you can see him like wing completely vertical, hands to his pockets, just like you could see it going down. Because right after that, we landed and the helicopter came in. Dude, it's an eerie picture, man.
On the cliffs? Is that where he ended up landing?
Yeah, he landed on the cliffs and broke his back. And I think he had to have like 2 vertebrae fused, but he survived at least. So,
oof.
But brutal. Yeah,
so
see some crazy stuff there.
Before we started the show, we talked about some of the guys that inspire you, and I told you that I invited Max Martini, and that he could show up on the show. I don't know; he's probably asleep right now.
You said Getty G, but
if Max... Getty G as well. I invited them both, and so tell me about who inspires you and where you draw from these days.
Okay, well, when I first moved down here, I was a P2, and I had just flown a ton of coastal flights, but I started flying a Soboba, and I went out there one day, and I like Soboba because it's a hybrid site. You can kind of ridge soar, but you still get a little bit of bumps and thermals, but it's not nearly as strong as Marshall or Palomar, for that example. So I really liked Soboba as a beginner pilot because you can get that nice glassy air, and you can go high though, so you're not just on the coast. And one day I was there, and I just was like farting around, thinking I was good because I could fly all over the place. And then all of a sudden, out of the corner of my eye, I see this guy. He's just, his wings all a mess. It's just like all ripped apart and stuff. And I just like, it's not far away from me, so I start flying towards him to like see what's going on. And it turns out it's Max Marion, and he's just ripping his wing apart, doing all sorts of tumbling, and he's just going upside down. And then he keeps doing it the whole time. He just goes from one move to another, and then
Love it.
over and over. And then I'm like, okay. First I thought he was first I thought he was in trouble. Then I'm like, no, he's a badass, you know. So then I go over there and I'm like watching him, and I get right next to him, and he comes out of his thing and he does a full stall, dynamic stall. So he's like, he's basically like this, and I'm right next to him, and I can see his face, and he's got the biggest grin on his face. It's so crazy. And I'm like, that's what I want to get to. Like, he's not even scared. Like, he's just having fun. Like, he's just playing, like, right now.
Yeah.
And so he's for sure, like, I went to SIV with those guys, and gave me a lot of instruction, but Max is the inspiration for real.
I've got him.
He's so chill too.
Yeah. I walked up to him after he was doing some gnarly flying on this wing that had all these, like, it looked like a bunch of bullet holes and just covered with this whole area of patches. It looked like it had maybe gotten mold or something. And I'm like, dude, what's wrong with your wing? And he's like, oh yeah. He goes, you know how people have bonfires down at the bottom of Thoe? And he goes, they had just covered it with sand, but it was super hot still. And I set my wing on it. And he goes, and it burned a bunch of little holes in the wing. Man. And so he had this beat up old ratty wing, and he was doing these gnarly wing overs, like all the way down to the beach. And then somehow he was working his way back up. It's in the video that I posted on Thoe. I wasn't supposed to be, I don't think, posting that, but anyways, he was ripping it up. So I'm with you on that.
Yeah, that's one thing that's tough, you know, because as a tandem pilot, you're kind of held to a different standard than other pilots. So a lot of the things that I do on my solo time, I have to worry about. Like, you know, at Crestline, we like to top land on the water towers or the radio tower or the top of the houses, and we just basically do the course, you know, and people take pictures. Jeremy even posted a video with my name and pointing to me. Like, there it is. And it's like, oh, thanks, Jay. Like, I guess that one's out, you know, like posted on the world. He's like, you know, so.
I've got a gnarly sat that you did from the fly-in. And all of us, like, everyone stopped and we're like, oh my gosh. And you were just ripping it. And Jeremy starts whistling. I don't know if you saw that one.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Yeah. Heck yeah. So Trey, we're trying to get Trey into free flight.
Absolutely.
He's
dude, come in.
We're trying to suck him in. We
convert. Yeah.
The last 4 shows have been paramotor guys, and my free flight guys are like, hey dude, what's up? Why don't we have any free flight guys? And so I'll say this, the free flight guys that I've invited so far, before these guys, before Jeremy and Alan, have all kind of stiff me. So hey, whatever. But
I want to talk to the free flight guys. I want to have a full-on conversation.
That's right.
Yeah, great.
The addiction's real.
Oh, well, dude, I want to get a motor. I just don't have enough money. You know, it's like, that's what it comes down to. I mean, every toy is just more money. So
yep.
You know.
Yeah. No, the motors are good. I mean,
today.
Yeah, the motors are good. I get a lot of opportunities to fly that I wouldn't without a motor. So, I just want to get out there and try that free flight. Like, if I'm up in the air, I can't hear a plane coming because I got a motor on my back, helmet and everything else. You know, not that I'm worried about the planes. I'm always looking around, but you know, it would be cool to be up there flying with the birds and be able to actually hear the birds.
Yeah. Well, totally, man. Like, you know, most of my friends now, like Jordan and Jeremy are my closest buddies. Stephen, Noah, all 3 of those guys have motors, you know. I mean, Jeremy just got his motor, so he hasn't done it, but it's not like we're against motoring at all.
Yeah. We're constantly going to battle.
That. Yeah.
Remember
totally. There are people like that, that defeats the purpose. Was like, what are you talking about? The purpose is to go in the sky.
to fly whenever
to
you
fly.
can.
Yeah,
That's right.
We all drove up here in a truck, if you guys remember. Like, I see you guys bicycling up the hill.
Yeah. That's so funny. We have a fly in this Saturday at
I know.
Palomar.
Yeah.
I really want to go. I'm planning on going, so we'll see how it works out. I'm still fighting off this 7-day flu, literally 7 days. I just started feeling better 2 days ago, and brutal, man.
It sucks.
Yeah, but remember that day? Remember that at that fly-in? Was that the one where the paramotor dude came in and did like a cartwheel landing? Were you there for that?
I didn't see any motors there.
So it was two. So it must have been the one right after that fly-in, the second one, because I don't think you were at the second one.
Did you go to the one that was all clouded up, where we ended up just launching into the cloud? Like, basically, the cloud was like maybe 1,000 feet up. So basically, like the entire, like halfway up the drive, you're just going to the cloud. So you get to launch, and we just go up there to wait. We waited around all day. Like we waited for like the entire day.
No.
And eventually, we just said, "Fuck it." We put on our GPSs, and we just one after another just launched into the cloud.
Nice.
Yeah.
So when you was this last year?
I don't know. It was before. Maybe it was before the summer one.
Yeah, because I didn't see. Did they post pictures of it? Because I haven't seen that. That's hilarious.
I have pictures of it, but yeah,
That's hilarious.
I had 2 Varios, and I'm in the little cloud, and it's the one thing I will say about it is I don't of course you're not supposed to fly in clouds intentionally.
Yeah.
But
caveat.
when you are in a cloud, what sucks big time is all the moisture. It collects on your lines and it goes right to your freaking toggles, and it goes right down your arm, and before you know it, it's going down everywhere. So you think the water just goes down the lines, right to your hands, right down your arm, right down everywhere. So that was the worst part. But
I'm surprised it was flyable.
Yeah,
it was just the cloud. We were socked in.
Yeah,
that happens at Big Sur a lot too. Big Sur is like 3,000 feet up, and everything is sunny except for right on top of launch. There's a little cloud, so you're like in a cloud. You can't see which way to go.
Oh wow.
But on that, the occasions I've been there, if it's too socked in, if it's clear underneath, but you can either hike down. So there's options to hike down and launch, or usually you can see the sun and you can just fly towards the sun and just keep going until you get away from the cloud, because it's not very far.
I really want to fly there. Jeremy sent me
we got to fly in March 23rd.
Yeah, I got it in the calendar.
Yeah, dude.
You guys camp at that one?
Yeah, dude, you gotta go, man.
Yeah,
I'll take your son flying.
Okay,
we're gonna bring our tandem.
Sweet. Yeah, I got it 23rd and 24th.
Yeah, 23rd, 24th, and 25th.
I got it right here.
Yeah,
I'm in. What were you gonna say, Trey?
I was just gonna say I've flown in some, in and around some clouds, not thick by any means, but I don't recall all the moisture. So maybe I don't know why.
Yeah, I think that's because I was inside of it.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, it was just like you're sitting around a bunch of pilots. You just talk each other into it. You just want to fly so bad. It's just so silly, You sit around for 8 hours.
How do you avoid running into each other in the white room?
Oh yeah, we just went one at a time. We didn't just go like in a hurry, and it was like thermals. You could see a little bit, so it's like, but yeah, I think we all just flew straight towards the dot,
Got it.
But we were all relieved when we saw the dot, and there was only I think 3 or 4 of us that went off, so I won't name them, so I won't get them in trouble. Yeah.
That's hilarious. We had one cool day. The first time I ever got to get into a cloud. I just kind of got to scrape the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
But that was that little black to Twin Peaks cross country that we did this last season. So cool, man. If that, I posted the full video too, which I'm sure nobody wants to watch a 54-minute YouTube video, but I'd love to go back and watch it again, because that was epic, man, to be able to just go and hit cloud base. And my son, I interviewed my son in the very beginning about flying, and I said, "Hey, son, what do you think about clouds?" And he goes, I don't know, but he goes, I think they're like cotton candy, and I want to taste it. Hey, what's up, Neil?
What's happening?
Us. Oh, nice.
I think we got audio too, even.
Yep, got the new microphone.
Right on. What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Not much.
Neil is Pair Perspective on YouTube, and I don't know, he was at work or something like that, and he looks like he escaped.
Yep, I got had some business to attend to. We're good to go now.
Right on. So he's also on the East Coast. Where are you at? I'm
in Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, that's right. Yeah, so he got a new microphone too, just for the show. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Yeah, we'll step up the audio quality a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds really good, man.
Right on. Good, good, yes.
Alan, what books are you reading or have you read that you recommend that people get a hold of?
Well, the thermal flying, I actually have a copy of it. Hold on, I'll just go get it real quick.
Grab it.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. So you ordered that mic and it came in pretty quick, huh?
Oh yeah, it was off of Amazon. It was like two days, something like that. I got a headset too. So
what mic is it?
The Snowball, the blue Snowball. Yeah, they had it on sale for $40.
So can you hear yourself?
Yeah, I got through the headset and everything. I can hear myself.
Okay, we'll talk about it afterwards because I'm going that direction. Thermal flying.
This one? Yeah, you seen this one?
Who's it by?
It's the Bookhard Martins thermal flying.
Okay, I've not
read that. Kind of hard to
book.
find, but dude, I mean, the thing is loaded with beautiful pictures.
Yeah.
I mean, I can read, but I can't read like understanding the weather. I need to see some actual paragliding pictures. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Look at this thing.
That's excellent.
I mean, it's gorgeous, and the way he describes the thermals, and he like draws in the thermals.
Yes.
He talks about it, but he photoshops in what it actually looks like, so you get a good knowledge. And I read that way early because my instructor Wally said you got to understand the weather first, so you know that whole oh gosh.
Yeah.
That thing is tough, dude. I'm not gonna lie.
It's no
cold
joke.
front, but I don't care about any of that stuff. Honestly.
Just call someone who knows.
Yeah, that's what I did. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you learn after a while, but you also, when you live in Southern California, you really just need to know, is it Santa Ana or is it a normal day? Like,
right.
In the summer, you don't even have to check. You just go out and fly.
So this leads me to my next question about Crestline.
Oh, yeah.
I found a video. Are you a part of the Illuminati? So I saw this video, and there's a castle right where you guys fly, like really close. And I just wanted to know if you know anything about that. If you can't talk about it, I understand. I don't want you to get killed.
I have no idea what castle you're referring to.
Sure you don't.
You're not talking about Saboba.
No, it's Crestline.
Because Saboba has a castle, you know, the Scientology castle.
That's
what I'm talking about?
Yes.
It's actual castle, that. Like looks like a Lego castle with the things.
Yeah. No, this is
at Crestline. I don't know of a castle.
I'll show it to you after the show.
Okay, because I mean, there is a club up there with a pool, but no.
I cannot wait to fly that site, by the way. Jeremy keeps on telling me, dude, come over. You can just crash at my pad.
You can.
If I'm not even there, you can still come.
I know.
He's so
he's that guy, dude. He's that way.
I love him, man. It's like a 2.5 hour drive for me. If I I got to kill a Saturday if I'm going to do it. So,
dude, wait for the
I'm
summer.
going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, wait for
sure.
I wait till the weather's warmer because we could go out on the lake in the daytime and then go wakeboarding all day and then we go fly. It's so nice every day.
That's what Jeremy keeps telling me too. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that book, I have heard of that book, but I'm so glad that you mentioned that. What other books do you recommend? And there's a lot of people. We have 32 people watching right now, by the way. Shout out to everybody.
Hey, what's up?
Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. If you guys if you have questions that you want to ask about free flight, ask those and in the chat, and we'll take those questions and we'll talk about that in just a second. But a lot of these guys that are watching that are logging into these haven't got off the ground yet. And so if the books that they can be reading and the things that they can be grabbing now ahead of time and before they start spending the big bucks.
Well, you know, I teach, so I'm used to that. But I usually, it's 2017, you know, like you really need to read. Like there's so many tutorial videos out there that are so much better and more informative. Like, and I even tell my students, don't just like limit yourself to the beginning videos. Like watch the acro videos, watch the paramotor videos, watch everything. Personally, like I recommend for my students, the first thing that they watch before the first day of training is the paragliding manual, the old one, the 78 version with. Yeah, so I'd make them watch that whole thing because I'm going to tell them all that stuff, but this way they can visualize it. And then I tell them to watch it again after that, after their first day of training, because now that they've done all the hooking in and the forwards and all that and the kiting, they've at least now, and they're just exhausted physically, they can go home and watch it. And the other channel that I really recommend to all the new pilots or aspiring pilots is Fly Bubble. Those guys have got it nailed, dude. They've got short videos. They're really well done. Those guys, the way that they've constructed their videos, especially like the safe techniques for landing and launching and kiting, it's just. And actually, I show them in the training session. So like while we're in between stuff, I tell them, but I show them the video, and so that they can rest and drink and get in the shade, you know. And as they're regenerating, we can watch a video. So, I mean, to be honest, like I don't really recommend. I don't make them buy stuff. Like there is a paragliding manual that they can read if they want to, like especially if they're going somewhere or they're the kind of person that likes to be quiet and read. But I mean, I'm the kind of person that likes to watch videos. So. And that's even how I teach my classroom with the high school kids. So pretty much, yeah, reading isn't really my forte. So I don't try to force it on other people.
Nice. I would have liked to have that teacher.
Scott Crary wants to know if you carry a reserve chute, Alan.
What's that?
Scott Crary would like to know if you carry a reserve.
At least one, yeah.
At least one.
I just ordered my first acro harness, so I've got two, and I was in between going from the base with two reserves and I ended up just going with a regular old harness with just a normal acro harness with two reserves.
Have you thrown it yet?
No, I've never tossed it. I've tried to.
Tried to.
Yeah.
Without using your hands.
I just couldn't bring myself to do it, you know. So I went to SIVs, and a couple of times, you know, I was like, I'm gonna get so far over my wing, it's gonna be irrecoverable, and I'm gonna toss. I'm gonna do it. But when it comes down to it, you cannot bring yourself to break your wing that bad. I mean, you can. I tried. I was just kind of a wuss, you know. I ended up when I had to, I ended up fixing my wing. So I had a few times where I had line overs and my wing was so messed up, but I had enough wing to fly, so I could make it to the beach, and I didn't have to go in the water. So I didn't get one of the T-shirts, the swim club. I didn't join the swim club. Maybe this year, though, you know, get a smaller wing, a little more ambitious. Going upside down, maybe, you know. So
we had Santa Croce on here. Did an interview with him, and he's got a pretty good outfit out there. I was thinking about doing an SIV with him. Where did you do your SIV at, or SIVs?
I did both of them at Berryessa, actually, Lake Berryessa in Northern California.
Okay. Who's the
but this
instructor out
summer
there?
I'm going to go up to Washington. So if you want to do SIV with us, we're going to be going up to Washington. They do $35 toes.
Oh,
So
nice.
Wow.
yeah, my friend Scott McLeod moved up there, and he just told me about it. And we were looking for, because SIV clinics are expensive, to be honest. So, and that's like, unfortunately, that's why some people don't do them. You
Yeah.
know, so they can't afford the $900 or $1,000 plus the trip. So it's going to end up being $1,500. And for them, they're just like, they barely scraped enough to get their wing together and, you know, their reserve and their harness. And so,
Right.
so we can make a trip out of it and you pay $35, at least you can stall over water. Because if you just master stall, then you're safe. I mean, really. I mean, unless you gift wrap yourself, you're pretty much bulletproof if you can stall. So
Yeah. I stalled, but it wasn't on purpose.
yeah, I saw the video.
Woo!
Hey, you know what though? That's actually not a bad exercise when you're like hovering over the ground a few feet
Yep.
off, is to stall it out. I'd have, you
I
know,
love
Jeremy was doing that a while. We did SIV over at Crestline. So I was he's my first student, SIV student.
Oh,
So,
Jeremy is
yeah.
crazy.
Dude, he was doing backflies and stalls, and you know, it took him a lot of it took a lot of convincing, because the longer you fly before you stall your glider, the harder it is. It's just so, you know, when you feel that going, you just, your instincts are to let the wing fly, and it's hard to push it through. And I think acro has made me a ton better. Like, just even though I'm not a real acro pilot yet, I'm still like a beginner, but the maneuvers that I've got down and the number of times I've stalled my glider to save myself, it means I feel so much more comfortable. And now when I go thermaling, like I was flying Palomar the other day, we were climbing that video I made, that one. The people were talking about how rowdy it was, and I was like, dude, it didn't feel that bad at all. I mean, you should try just stalling your wing. You want to feel rowdy, you know, just shove your I mean, it really. So once you're used to your wing doing all that and moving around so much, then you don't really get as affected by the little bumps that you find in thermals and stuff like that. Or even if you take a full collapse, you're just like, oh well, my glider went away for a second, but I don't know.
It's a whole different world, man. When you're you're at like $6,000 and then you lose your wing and you don't know what to do. Oh.
Yeah. That's fun though, dude. Now, so sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, when it goes down to SIV courses and you're like, for example, we had the conversation back and forth about guys who thought SIV was good after a certain amount of time, not so good for a new guy because you're not going to remember it. Like Max Martina, he did a really good episode talking about it's not for, you know, he doesn't necessarily think it's a great idea because the repetition is where it's at. And I agree with that, you know, if you're going to be doing acro, to nail it, it's going to it's a slow progression towards more and more. What do you think about that? What's your feeling on that?
Totally in agreement with Max on that one. I listened to his take on that. He actually references it a lot in a few of his videos, and I remember, you know, listening to his explanation on that, and I agree. Because I did one early. I did one when I was just basically when I decided to buy my Rush 4, and I decided I was going to do cross country. I decided I better do SIV. And I was actually already a P3, so I wasn't really a new pilot, but I was comparatively still a baby. And so I was just frightened the entire time and just happy to get everything done and checked off, but I never really used it. I do feel it helped me a bit, but not nearly as much as this last one I went to, where I was more accomplished and my skills had grown way higher. And now I was pumped to go every time. I wanted every single toe. You know, I didn't want to be on the ground. I was waiting for my next turn so I could do some more shit. You know, it's like I just wanted to go bigger and harder and fly. And stalling, I was still nervous a couple times. I think I still always get nervous a little bit, but it's this, like Max describes, you now understand what's happening and you understand what to do, and you trust yourself so much more to fix your wing, that you don't have the same I mean, I don't think fear can be bad for some people, but for most of us, I think it helps you zone in, you know, like, so I was doing my first helis at Crestline the other day, and I was just trying to dial them up, and I finally got it where it was stable. My wing was rotating, and I was looking straight up, and you get to the point where you're actually not doing much. You're just sitting there watching the world go round.
Oh, wow.
And before I know it, there's trees right next to me, you know, so I'm like literally like 30, 40 feet off the ground. So I'm not descending really fast, but I had totally lost perspective of how much altitude I had drained going down. So, but I got out of it so fast because I just went, you know, and exited, and I was pumped, dude. I was so pumped up because I had nailed the heli, but then also because I had exited so fast that I didn't have any chance, and I didn't even sink out. I was able to get back up. So
that is epic. Jeremy Conrad is in the chat. Jeremy, you need to get that helicopter on film.
Oh, dude.
Facebook Live.
Dude, get him on here. Can you get him in this? Where do I push the button?
So I know. So we talked about this, and Jeremy wasn't sure about coming on.
Oh yeah.
Yet, but he is coming on. It's to be announced.
All right, I'll crash his show then.
Yeah, for sure. You're gonna have to. You have to come back on again. By the way, I set it up so that you can come back on, and that you have. I think I told you have rights for moderation and all that.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So, being an instructor again, and I keep going back to this, and because this is such an awesome opportunity for the show and for everybody that's watching. What advice do you have for the aspiring pilot who's like, okay, I want to get off the ground. Where do I start? And what can they do to get the ball rolling even before they show up at a site ready to fly? I should say, showing up to a place to get instruction. That's what I meant.
I mean, what I did was I called up an instructor, a school, and I talked to a couple of them, but I talked to a guy who just sounded like he was relaxed and not pressuring me or anything, just gave me the heads up. And most instructors will give you kind of the whole lowdown. If you have specific questions like cost and blah, 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 obviously they want to know how much it's going to cost. But the hardest thing is that they want to know how long it's going to take, and they want to just get their license in 5 days or something like that. And you can't give them a timeline like that because everyone's different. But my advice is just to, no matter what, find an instructor. Find someone who maybe even isn't an instructor, but a friend of yours who flies that you trust to kind of just give you the basics, getting familiar with the wing, getting familiar with the canopy, how to lay it out, how to connect it. And don't self-teach yourself, no matter what.
Who would do that?
Yeah,
a lot of people. A lot of my students that I have, they tried to do it on their own, and then luckily they survived, and then now they're ready to pay. It's like, how much is your life worth? I mean, really, you're gonna worry about $300 for a day of lessons or something. But they have.
I don't know anybody like that.
I know, right? But that's my advice. I am an instructor, so of course I believe in instruction, but don't just spend all your money. Like, at least do one day. If you're really not sure, like if it's for you, take a flight. Do a tandem, go take a flight with someone. I knew right away. Like, I knew, but when I saw it, like as soon as I had the money, I was gonna do it. So it wasn't like I just saw an ad and just went for it. I just was like saving up in my goal. So by the time I had booked that lesson, I was already committed. I bought my gear the first day. I told him I knew how much it was, and I had saved it up, and I just said I want the gear, and he still told me to train in his gear. It wouldn't cost any more, so that I don't beat it up, which I also recommend. So you're not beating up your brand new gear, whacking it on the ground over and over again, pulling it through weeds and throwing it over fences,
Alan, one of the questions in the chat from NC PPG Pilot was, do you fly motor as well?
I have, but I don't have one. So I am, and Jeremy just got one, so I will be flying one more often.
That's cool.
Where do you guys fly out there? Motors.
Where?
Yeah.
I mean, you can fly anywhere, really. I mean, that's a cool thing about a motor. You can fly
That's
anywhere.
the answer. Anywhere you want.
I mean, the cool thing of typically we would go somewhere else where we're not.
Yeah.
You know, like when I did mine, it was in Palm Springs, like in the golf course. You know, so it was in the middle of nowhere. But you know, Jordan, who's another good friend, you should get him on your show. By the way, I don't know if you know Jordan from.
He's
you know
teacher.
Jordan?
He's an instructor at Thoe.
Yeah.
Yes, I do
So
know
he
Jordan.
and I, we did everything together for a while. He used to be at Soboba with me, but
okay, yes.
he flies at Lake Matthews all the time, you know. And Steven likes to go out to the desert, you know. You know, the only thing about motors that sucks is altitude. So you can't go up like to high places, like where you'll just be burning all your gas. I mean, these guys know more than I do, but you know, when we got a little higher, I could feel how much more gas you need, you know, to keep going. So the propeller doesn't work as well when you get to 6,000-7,000 feet. So.
Hey, one of your students is watching the chat. We wanted to throw that in there for you.
Nice.
Oh yeah, who's it?
His name is Rancid Nerd. So
nice.
I think I know who it is.
That's awesome.
You also had another question, cool. Alan, earlier in the show about talk about one of your cross country trips and like what that's like for you.
So my best cross country flight is I did a 4-hour flight from Elsinore to Redlands, and that's probably about 85 miles.
Wow.
Total. Yeah. And it was actually my first time over 10,000 feet too. So it was 2 milestones at once. It was not just my longest flight, but my farthest flight and my highest flight. And I topped out at 12.6, which isn't that high, but for me, that was pretty fucking high.
That's
I mean,
high.
honestly, 12,600.
Yeah, that's high.
Yeah. So, and that day I actually got thrown into a cloud. That was my I've been in a cloud before, like Pacifica. It's pretty common. You get thrown into the clouds, just like you said, just on the edge of them. But I got sucked into one where I couldn't get out. So I spent a number of long, terrifying minutes in a cloud that I couldn't get away from. Like, that's the thing about flying thermals, where you look up and you don't really know how big that cloud is. But before you know it, you can't escape it. You know, you're like, you've already decided that you're going to get sucked into it, and you start beelining, and you're just going up like crazy, and it's just so weird. And so you get sucked into it, but you know, you pop out. So as long as you don't hit anything, I guess.
You got sucked in. You're in between. Obviously, you're about halfway, or give or take.
Yeah.
And you're going to maintain a heading.
Yeah, that's all you do. Just maintain a heading. Yeah.
And you're watching your vario, you're watching your direction, and then you probably have some kind of other directional device, but you're not by yourself. Who else is on that trip?
This was with the XC League, so I was with all of the guys from the Southern Cal XC League. And I did follow a guy up there. That's kind of one of the reasons I don't blame anyone, but I was circling and there was a guy above me who was still circling. So I'm like, well, shit, he must be okay. So let's just keep circling. And then he was gone. And then I was gone, you know? So, I don't actually even know who that was, to be frank, but,
sworn to secrecy.
No, I honestly don't know who it was. That's the weirdest thing about flying XC. Well, we don't got a ton of pilots, but we get like 25, 30 of us. And you start off together and you're all gaggled up and you're bouncing around and you start to group, and all of a sudden, you know, you go from 30 to 15 and then you're 6 and then you're 3. And before you know it, you're by yourself. I mean,
that's so cool.
By the time I got out of that cloud, I never saw another pilot. And that was only an hour into the flight. So I spent the next 3 hours all by myself. So And what's funny is that my radio died in the middle of the flight, and Aaron calls me on the phone because he's trying to figure out where I am, because I was trying to get to Saboba. That was my goal. And he knew I had left launch. Like, he saw me go, but he didn't know where I was. And so he calls me on my phone, and I answer it. And I'm at like 8,000 feet flying still towards Redlands. And he's like, hey, where are you at? I'm like, I'm flying over Saboba right now. I'm going to keep going. And he's like, you answered your phone? I'm like, yeah. He's like, your radio's dead. I'm like, oh, yeah, my radio died, so I'm just flying. So it's good to know you have cell phone reception up there.
Wow.
So I ended up making it to the brewery, and actually was published in the Yushpa magazine. I got a little article in there. Yeah. And so that was crazy for me. That was the big moment, you know, when I felt like I was not a new pilot anymore.
Right.
Because there was a lot of low saves. And that's pretty much how everyone who flies XC knows. There's going to be a moment where you're going to have to find something very low, and if you don't, you're going to be on the ground. So it's pretty hard to cross the valleys without, you know.
I was just going to say, like, I can't wrap my mind around flat flying.
Yeah.
I like, because you have a mountain and it's almost like guaranteed. Well, I shouldn't say guaranteed, but it's like you can map it out in your mind, and I'm getting to that place where I'm starting to understand it. But when we launched from Little Black that day, only the best were finding stuff, and I couldn't, man. I blew it.
Well, there's a lot of luck involved. I mean, to be honest, like I've seen even Aaron, you know, sink out times when, you know, other people made it, you know. I mean, over the course of the season, the top pilots, Gavin and Aaron and Revis and stuff, and Chris Cote, they're gonna make gold most of the time, but they'll all sink out eventually because there's some luck involved, you know. Even the same spot, you know, you can see someone circling, and then you go exactly to that same spot, and it's shut off because it was a pulsing thermal. You're the wrong time, you know, right place, wrong time. So
yeah. So we're almost out of time. I want to take some questions from the chat if there's anything that's in there, and then also want to just put a quick plug in. Go check out the Patreon. Support the show on the Patreon. I'm planning on buying a microphone. Again, shout out to paleotreats.com. Nick loaned us his Paleo Treats microphone, and so he gave it to me in a Paleo Treats box, and I do have to give that back, but I want to buy one, and so support the show that way. YouTube's not paying anything, and I think they'll demonetize anyways, even if I get it ripping, but we'll see what happens. But my son, he wants to be on TV. Come here, son. Come here.
Yeah, I remember.
This is Brian. So this is the younger one. He was also at the fly-in. Tabin was the one that you're going to take. He's the 13-year-old.
The one that was filming us?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this is his younger brother. He was the one that like your shirt, by the way. That's a rad shirt, Tony Hawk. Yeah. But
Nice.
if we have any questions in the comments, free flight, go ahead and let them rip.
Yeah, there's
My shirt is there.
where was it here? I just saw it.
I don't want to step on
Carl Colorado wanted to ask, do you have any tips for flying with teammates?
Flying with teammates?
Yes.
Carl's a champ, by the way.
What's that?
Carl's a champ. He's in Colorado. He's got a YouTube channel too. He's got some really good videos. Yeah.
I
don't compete, so I don't have teammates. So I don't really have any advice, but I will say flying together is always better than flying by yourself, because you can listen to your vario, but it's so much easier to listen to another pilot flying around. You know, you can work off each other and see which one's climbing better, because you might be in a thermal, but he might be in a better spot, or vice versa. So obviously, if you have a teammate or another pilot, it doesn't have to be a teammate though. For me, it just has to be anyone, even a bird.
Do you fly with comms, and do you talk with other pilots that you're near?
I mean, I actually talk with them like this. Like we fly and we talk within, like, you fly close enough where you actually can talk to each other. But we do. Jeremy and I talk on the phone, like, like in the air. So I actually got my helmet has speakers right here. It's an audio liner and it's a snowboarding helmet. And basically, I have it hooked up to my phone. So if I get a call, I just go and I just start talking. It's got a microphone built in. So my phone is in my pod harness and I can talk. No problem. And almost everywhere now you have reception. It's pretty incredible. So
these guys do Facebook Live while they're flying.
Yeah.
I'm dead serious. It's awesome. I laugh whenever I see Jerry post. I'm like, he's flying.
Yeah.
I did it at Torrey Pines once, and when my wife FaceTimed me, she was like, "What are you doing?" And I said, I'm in the air. Look. And, that's pretty funny.
There you go. Yeah.
Surprised it worked.
Your student is Nathaniel.
My phone, but never dropped my phone yet. You know, I remember I actually filmed my third flight off the training hill. I pulled my phone out to take video. I'm that student.
What were you saying, Neil?
Oh, your student that wanted to that was in the chat is Nathaniel.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
Yeah, he was just wanted to identify himself.
Right on, Nathaniel. So
yeah,
is he brand new?
Gonna watch. I posted it on Google Classroom. I'm like, hey, you guys come check it out. See what your teacher does outside of teaching you math. So he's in my math class. I teach computers and then I teach math. So not always so much fun as paragliding. So.
Heck yeah. So if you guys get a chance, go subscribe to Alan's channel. He's telling me that he's going to ramp it up on videos. He just recently started posting some new ones. And I put a link for that in the description. Go check that out. Make sure you subscribe to these guys. Para Perspective, you're going to definitely want to sign up for his stuff. Also, because he's going to start posting stuff really soon here. It's starting to cool off. PPG Flyer. Go check out his. You can also see the episodes where we interviewed PPG Flyer. If you go to Back in Time on the website on paraglidingtalk.com, you can see all the other episodes. We're on episode 10. Can you believe that?
Time flies.
Incredible, man. So fun. And so really appreciate everybody logging in, coming to hang out. If there's no more questions, we're going to wrap it up. It's so fun, man. I love doing this.
My mom just texted me. She said, "Hi, Mom."
My dad was in the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still on. He's hanging out. Said, "What's up, Pop?" He's over in Arizona.
Oh, look, your son's got a headset too, man. Nice.
Yeah, so Taven, my oldest son, has a channel.
Oh, jeez.
So he's filming all his skating stuff, and he's going with me, and he's like, "Dad, I want you to teach me how to fold a wing." And so he's got this whole video of him learning how to fold the wing, and so he wants to do it for tips.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Dude,
a little capitalist.
Let me tell you, he's gonna make a lot of money because I will pay so much.
I know.
Honestly, like, that is by far the best idea I've ever heard.
I know. I laughed.
Awesome.
Dude, I would much rather pay for that than a ride up the mountain. Because when I get down, all I want to do is drink a beer. I don't want to fold that shit.
I guess the kids in Mexico will fold up your wing. You give them, just give them a water or throw them a couple bucks or whatever. And so they had heard that, and so both these boys were like, "Hey, we want to learn how." So he's like forcing me to teach him how to fold up the wing. But
Dude,
hilarious.
There you go. That's a great idea, dude.
Just so you know, Alan, if he sees you, he's gonna be like, "Hey, you said you were gonna take me on a tandem."
Yeah.
And so he will never forget you. We watched the video over, after a while. I was watching it again. He goes, "Yeah, that's Alan. He said he was gonna take me."
Oh yeah,
so funny.
Totally.
I love it.
No, you got me on record. I'll take them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Bring them both out. We'll take them both up at the same time.
Yeah.
We'll all fly together. All three of us. All five of us or whatever.
He just said that. Alan said that he will take you on a tandem so you can fly. Yeah.
I actually just got I bought a Mojo XL, so I can take some lighter passengers. So
Nice.
I just bought a used one. I'm like, this is perfect. Big ass Mojo. It's not a tandem glider, but still an A glider. And there you go. So now I don't have to like take these little kids on this 42-meter wing.
And then you guys are going to the moon.
Yeah.
What? How much do you weigh?
60. I think.
60.
Yeah.
Won't even make a difference. You could use my wing if you want.
No, I take the Mojo XL. It's perfect. No, it's a good wing. I actually Marcelo. Do you know Marcelo de Barros? Well, he was telling me
probably have met him.
He's one of the instructors at Andy Jackson, and he was the one who put the bug in my ear. He's like, dude, just put them on your big A glider. You don't need to use an acro wing. Because I was thinking about buying another acro wing. I'm not an acro, another tandem wing, a smaller one.
Right.
Like Jeremy has a 38. I got a 42. So it's like,
I didn't know Jeremy got a tandem too.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. We all go together. Both your sons and us
awesome.
will all fly. Yeah.
We've got to. That is so epic.
Think of all the camera angles we can get.
Which, by the way, that is so critical. I have to see the helicopter with Jeremy's phone or Jeremy's camera from that angle, because you always see it from like where you're just, spinning and you just see the world going around. And I know you're obviously going to be posting that. But when you guys are together, make sure Jeremy does it. I've got to see it. That is so epic, and I'm so excited for you guys.
Well, that's what we're talking about that, and then I've got my students that are drone pilots, and I'm talking about. Did you see the post that John Gallagher put on the San Diego paragliding with the drone footage from Palomar?
No,
dude, those drones will follow you.
Wait a second.
Yeah, man, those drones will follow you. So wherever you go, and they'll stay a certain distance, and you can orient it so it always stays on you, or you can have it rotate around you. Dude, those things. Perfect cameraman.
So
they just follow you.
Let me just make sure that I'm getting this right. Are you implying that you're going to fly and then fly a drone behind you while you're flying?
Well, the drone follows you. You don't actually have to do anything.
You set it up ahead of time.
If it loses you or its battery's dying, it just goes back to land and it just lands on its own. Yeah.
That is so cool. I got to see that. So I'm stoked.
Well, he'll be at the fly-in. He'll be at the fly-in on Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah. So you should talk to him if you don't know him.
Yeah, I'm definitely
get him on your show. Yeah. He's a cool guy.
John?
He's a P5. Yeah, tandem administrator from Massachusetts. He's out here because it's summertime out here.
Because he's smart.
January. Yeah.
John, what's his last name?
Gallagher. Yeah.
Writing this down.
Yeah, he's been posting in
I've seen his name.
San Diego chat. Yeah.
I'm looking at that right now, as a matter of fact. He posted something in the chat. You know who else I'm trying to get on right now? Josh Cohen.
Yeah. But how about Max? Did you ask Max?
Martini?
No.
Max.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I don't have his contact. I don't know him that well. I would love to.
Oh,
you think he'll do it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The guy is he's the wing whisperer. That's what I call him.
Dude, he is
like the guy is incredible. He changed my world. Actually, he changed the way I teach too, because he taught me to just learn how to kite without my brakes. Just using all the strings, and I teach that, especially if they're struggling with kiting. I tell them to let go of everything and just work on the risers for up, and keep their hands free. And no, the guy is just unbelievable.
Just so you know, if I'm right, he lives at the top. So he lives just above the launch at one of our more I would say our most popular site in Southern California, Palomar. He lives up on top. Is that right?
I believe
staying up there with Robin and them.
Well, Robin, his dad, owns it, but the last I checked, Giuseppe, who's also an incredible acro pilot, was living up there. Yeah,
got it.
So I mean, they are very similar, actually.
Yeah.
So Giuseppe is another guy. I mean, you got so many good pilots: Chris Cote, Revis, Gavin. I mean, I was honored, dude. Honestly, I'm like, are you sure? Have you seen?
Oh, no,
have you seen the other guys around?
Bro, you're awesome, man. You're the hero in my book, man.
All right, cool, man.
Heck yeah. So again, go check out his channel. Make sure you subscribe, like this video if you haven't liked it already, and come hang out with us. We do this every Thursday night. We start at 6 o'clock, and I count it a privilege to be able to fly and do what we do. And so to have some friends to do it, see your puppy there. And so anyways, really appreciate you guys watching. There'll be just a quick after show, and I'll put that plug in. But other than that, have a great night, guys. Really appreciate you coming on. Thanks, Trey Sapp. Thanks, Neil. And again, go check out those guys, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Cool, man.
Yeah, thanks, guys.